Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. Tonight I'll be reviewing the press with John Grub, veteran journalist and speaker of Truth Unto Power, now with the public relations industry. But first, it's over to the news headlines with Richard Morris.
Hello, in the headlines today, Cleethorpes swimming pool has reopened and a carnival is taking place in Little Wheaton. After some suspicious incidents in Hull, police are reminding residents to be vigilant. A resident recently allowed a man in to use his phone after he said he had fallen off his bike. It was later discovered that some jewellery was missing from the property. Residents are urged to double-check who people are before letting them into their homes and reminding people that you can refuse entry even if a person looks official. Cleethorpes swimming pool has reopened. The floor, which had been relaid and meant the pool had been closed from mid-June, had to be replaced again following safety concerns. The pool opened on Thursday and we went there to find out what people think of the reopening.
It's been a shame it's been closed so often. People are beginning to think it's a bit of a joke.
We've been a few times and it's not, been opened. I don't know, I've not actually been in there yet since it's been done, so I'm just assuming it's probably going to look the same but different paint on the walls.
Oh, we're really pleased now, yeah, because it's a lot bigger than Grimsby one. So we're going to hopefully look forward to it today.
But it's open again and it's in time for the school holidays and the holiday makers and everything, so I just hope it stays open this time.
We're open, it's going to stay open now, yeah, definitely.
I don't know, is it safe? Have you been in? I'm hoping so.
This evening, the Mayor of North East Lincolnshire is officially opening the Great Grimsby Family History Group exhibition to commemorate the centenary of World War I. The exhibit will feature displays of some of the stories of how Grimsby, Cleethorpes and surrounding areas contributed to the war effort. Mums and their children are being encouraged to be healthy, starting with an event in People's Park in Grimsby last week. The People's Park Pram Conga is in its third year and the organisers are hoping for a record number of people to participate this year. The event involves families pushing their children's prams around the park while doing the conga. It's been a popular and fun event for all involved, while also promoting messages about living healthier lifestyles and advice for mums and their children or newborns. We spoke to the event's organisers, Lauren Jackson and Emma Jo Collins. They outlined the purpose of the event and who it's aimed at.
Just recognition, making sure people are aware of, obviously the open parks and spaces in the area, getting people out into the sunshine and realising, these facilities, they're free and they're open to everybody, and trying to keep people healthy and active. Women with children, but also within the advertising we've said, children with scooters or bikes. It's just a real community event, and hopefully incorporating and involving everybody.
And we also try to promote maternal health and wellbeing as well. So we've got some professionals here today to give out advice and support around that topic area as well.
Ex-Labour North East Lincolnshire Council councillor and cabinet member Ian Lindley has joined the local Conservative Party in the area. He cites reasons including a distinct lack of unity between Labour members on key issues, his total opposition to all women shortlists being used to select the next Labour candidacy in Grimsby, and the whip being too frequently applied in Labour Party votes. Councillor Philip Jackson, chairman of the Grimsby Conservative Association, has welcomed the move. Over last weekend, it is estimated that more than 70,000 of us went away on holiday for the start of the summer breaks. During the whole of this summer, it's anticipated that 1 million of us will go to more exotic climes. The data was compiled by Thomson and First Choice. A carnival is taking place at the beginning of August in Little Wheaton. The event will feature activities such as donkey rides and allow people to view classic cars. There will be plenty of other things to do too. Catherine Rowbottom, the co-organiser of the event, explained more.
It's really important to support your own community. This is purely a fun day, it's not profit making. It's just purely for enjoyment and fun in the summer, something to do with the children and all ages really. So I think it's important for everybody to come and support what's in their local area. I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody enjoying the day. It's been a lot of hard work to do. It's taken around 8 months to plan this and bring it to fruition. And I just hope that everybody has a really fun day and that the weather's good.
Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for now, and we'll be back with more news soon. In the meantime, if you've got any news for us, please call us on 01472 315 561 or email news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.
John Grub is a former editor of the Scunthorpe Telegraph and the Lincolnshire Echo. He now works for the public relations industry with his own company, Grub Street Media. And he joins me now to have a look at this week's regional press.
Hi.
John, thank you very much for coming in. What took your eye first of all?
Well, there's a story in Friday's Grimsby Telegraph about residents in Grimsby seeking compensation because a surge in electricity as a result of the flooding has burnt out lots of their electrical goods. They've been offered some compensation already and the offer of replacement of certain items, but there seems to be a debate and a row, sort of brewing over exactly what will get replaced and what won't.
And who's offering them compensation and why are they liable?
Well, I assume, it's the electricity company. I assume it's because the damage has been done by an electrical surge, which may or may not have been caused by the flood, but certainly it's the surge into the homes which has caused the problem.
And so this is, as always in Grimsby, the floods are the shadow that hangs over us, whether it be in the dead of winter or during a heat wave in the middle of the summer.
Oh, yeah, I know, it's bizarre, isn't it, that we're talking about floods in this particular weather. But I think a lot of people sympathise with these residents. I think power companies, whether it's gas, electricity, are not exactly the apple of the public's eye at the moment with their huge profit figures. So I should imagine there'll be a lot of sympathy for their position.
You don't think there might be an aspect of caveat emptor? If you live in a place that's only a few inches above sea level, then you can expect your electrical wiring to get a little damp.
Well, I guess that might be true, although I'm not entirely sure whether the floods in Grimsby are a result of poor drainage or whether it's to do with the actual level of where these homes are.
Moving a little south of Grimsby, we go down to Louth, and the Louth leader is reporting cattle market D-Day.
Yes, well, of course, the Louth leader came out before the big decision, and that's now been made. I'm sure lots of viewers will know already that the cattle market plan, the supermarket plan for the cattle market has been given the go-ahead. There's been lots and lots of debates and arguments over this leading up to it. It will continue, no doubt, for months afterwards, probably years afterwards.
Well, just to clarify the narrative here, or the sequence of events, Louth Town Council approved the plan to sell the cattle market site to Asda, and then subsequent to the publication of this edition of the Louth Leader, East Lindsey District Council, which is a much more significant player in this, also consented to that plan going ahead.
Yes.
And yet there are still many further jumps to go over before that supermarket can be created there.
Well, ELDC, I think, have got the rights to give the plan permission, and I think they own the land as well. So I would imagine it's pretty much a done deal now. But the rumblings and the arguments will no doubt go on for a long time. Well,
just what are those arguments? There's one argument, I suppose, that says that we shouldn't have a supermarket in the centre of Louth because that will take business away from all the little shops down East Gate and those other places. The other argument says that we want a supermarket if we're going to have one in the centre, so it'll bring people into town so that they won't all just completely go away from the little shops.
Yes.
And then there's a further argument saying we don't want any supermarkets at all. People must only come to our little shops.
I think that probably encapsulates all of them. As a boy, I went to school in Louth, and certainly I think it's fair to say the town hasn't changed an awful lot in the last 30 years.
No.
Many people will see that as a positive thing. Many people like the fact that Louth still retains the kind of the Georgian charm almost of a place set in aspic jelly from the 1940s. But of course, a lot of people, they like progress. They want a Costa coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they want to see this progress made. I don't think there'll ever be a situation where the two sides will come to some kind of agree to disagree point of view.
One of the puzzling arguments I've heard from people in Louth against the idea of having a supermarket is that somehow a supermarket kills choice because it's a possibility of the smaller businesses going out of business, I guess. But in a way, it gives the people of Louth a choice between going and getting bland, boring, homogeneous supermarket goods for less money, rather than spending more money and getting rather more interesting homemade craftsmanship goods on the
absolutely.
On the
I suppose they're working out on the basis of the fact that the supermarket will inevitably undercut local traders because they're buying in bulk, they're doing it at a cheaper price. If you begin to buy your essentials at a supermarket, you might just throw a few more things in the trolley while you're there. Before you know it, the local greengrocer isn't getting enough business anymore. So I can understand that point of view, but you're right, this is really in the hands of the people of Louth.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't have to be a field of dreams, it doesn't have to be a build it and they will come. You know, the people of Louth can say no, they can vote with their feet, they can decide not to go, and that will save the local traders.
Market forces will decide, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Council's library proposals quashed. This is Lincolnshire County Council's proposals to close an awful lot of libraries. They wanted to reduce the council's libraries from 44 to only 15, with the other libraries being run by volunteers.
Yes, that's right, yes.
The High Court has intervened.
Yes, indeed. Lots of complications around the way you do your consultation process, all sorts of legalese that really probably doesn't matter very much, except to say that it means that the council cannot push ahead. I think it's a technicality on which the High Court has actually quashed this ruling, and it's around they didn't give due consideration to allowing a third party to run the libraries. So it doesn't seem to be about whether we should have libraries or not.
No.
Typically when it comes to the law, it's about a particular loophole. But for now, the campaigners will be very happy because the whole thing will have to be put on ice until they sort this out. Again, it's one of those situations where so much of these things depend upon the public. If the public were using the libraries in their thousands on a daily basis, they wouldn't be stopped, they wouldn't be cut. The fact is that as much as people like to come out of the woodwork and protect libraries now, the fact is they weren't using them, which is why they came under fire in the first place.
Well, the possibility is if the council gets its way, the county council gets its way and closes these libraries, it could save, in one article here, it mentions either £2 million or £1.73 million.
Yes.
But presumably that's a cut that everybody's going to see in their council tax bills. This is money the council's spending on, as you suggest, a service that isn't popular enough to justify itself.
I think that's right. I mean, I can understand it from the county council. You know, they're continually having to manage smaller and smaller budgets, and something's got to give. Either the public come out and say we're prepared to spend twice as much on local services as we currently do, or 20% more, or something has to close. You can't have it both ways.
And why are people not using libraries as they did in years gone by?
Well, I suspect a lot of it's generational. You know, Kindles are replacing printed books. I don't particularly like it, but there we are, it's happening. You know, people are watching movies, listening to books far more than they're actually reading the printed version of them. I mean, libraries have updated themselves to some extent, but let's be honest, they're no internet cafe, are they? So
no, they're not. Quick story here, just to finish off. Story about a solicitor in Grimsby suggesting that ASBOs are not a particularly fine deterrent or punishment.
Yes, I mean, I think, first of all, interesting that somebody within the legal profession has come out and actually made a fairly, I guess, could be construed as a political statement around ASBOs, basically saying that, you know, they're just used as an excuse to deal with all sorts of issues that should be dealt with in a different way. So in one particular case, you know, a young lady who's got a problem with aerosol can sniffing, who's been dealt with by an ASBO. Is that really the best way to deal with it?
The suggestion being that if you've got to the point where you're sniffing aerosol cans, you need treatment, not punishment.
Exactly. I think the ASBOs have been used somewhat as a sledgehammer to crack every nut inside.
That's a bit of a generalisation.
Yes.
John, many thanks for coming along and looking at those stories. I'm afraid that's all we have time for tonight. If you have any news for us, please get in touch in the usual ways through the Twitter or through the Facebook, or give us a telephone call on 01472 315561 or email news@estuary.tv. That's all we have time for this time. See you next time. Goodbye.